Hello, guys. This is a new episode of the OrthoPlus. So, hello to all the ortho scientists, ortho artists, and all the open-minded doctors that want to grow professionally and in a personal way. So, today we're having Matias Anghileri. Thank you for giving me this short interview. And I just want to mention that we're now on the summit of Invista Summit, which is fulfilled with great lectures and great presentations. And you already gave one, which I had a great opportunity to listen to.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you for this chat.
I've been on a couple of your lectures, and you many times mentioned that you come from a family of an orthodontist, like a dental family, sort of. How this affected on you growing and choosing a profession that you have chosen?
Well, actually, my grandfather was a dentist.
Wow.
Yeah. My parents are both dentists. I'm married with a dentist. I mean, it's like a gold in my family. So imagine a dinner is like very boring, right? Because we only talk about teeth. But I think the most important thing is that I really love what I do. Probably because I saw them doing this profession, loving what they were doing. So when I saw their passion, maybe they transmitted it to me. And for me, it's very important that if you're doing something, do it because you really love what you're doing. Actually, if you tell me now, okay, I can pay you $1,000 for a root canal, and I will say, well, maybe for $1,000. I will. No. But the thing is that I don't like to work with that, right? I don't like to do that things. I really love what I do. I really love orthodontics, and that's for sure my passion.
But have you ever thought of any different field of professions, or that was like the only option?
Well, actually, yes. I would say that if I wouldn't be a dentist, I always wanted to be a psychologist, a teacher, and an actor. So the truth is that I think that with with the teaching, I combined all of them, right? It's like, wow, I love everything I'm doing. I'm doing everything I wanted, actually, in one profession.
Yeah, that's great about orthodontics, that and now it's like artistry as well, and all the computers and the progress that is fulfilling our profession. So I mentioned that your lectures are really inspiring, educational, and entertaining, as we spoke right before the recording, because you are combining a sort of a story, like a movie, I would say, if the imagination works perfectly enough. I just love them. Do you remember your first lecture that you were inspired by to start lecturing yourself?
Well, I remember the first lectures I attended were my father's, actually, because he's an orthodontist and he's also a lecturer. And I remember actually my first steps, even when I was studying, he was giving me the worst topics, right? I don't know, like articulator, occlusion, those ones that no one wants. So I struggled a lot trying to find in each one of those specific topics that were very boring for everybody. Say, okay, how can I transmit this to them to make it more interesting, to make it more clinical, usable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that helped me to understand how I wanted to become a better lecturer and a better speaker.
And what's the last seminar that you attended and that you were, I don't know, mind-blowing and glowing?
Oh, well, the truth is that every time I hear Dr. Damon, for me it's like, it's crazy, right? Because you're seeing someone, it's 83 years old. And if you think about it, we are always motivated about something, right? Maybe traveling, maybe money, maybe your profession, maybe your patients, whatever, and they are all okay. But when you are 83 years old and you have everything, right? You have money, you have fame, you have power, everybody knows you, everybody uses your system. So what motivates you? What makes you get up on that stage at 83 years old and and trying to give your best. And I think that's why every time I see him, I feel inspired by him, for sure.
Dr. Matias Anghileri.
Oh my God. Las Vegas. I can't believe it. Really, I have watched so many films about this beautiful city. Betting? Gambling? What is that? Well, let me tell you a secret. I started my demon path gambling.
Do you think there is a moment when we can actually stop learning something? Because like with every single new generation of braces or aligners or you name it, we think that it's sort of a revolution or that's the final step. Now we can lay back, see our patients 3 times and finish like in a year or so. Do you think there is like a stop line or finish line where we can?
No, because we can always get better on what we do. Even if you didn't decide to change your bracket system or the way you work or start working or with aligners or tats, whatever. I mean, you can always be better on what you're doing, because in the moment that you feel that you know everything, that's the peak of your life, and that's when you're coming down, right? It's because your ego gets ahead of you, and that's a problem. So you always need to learn, you always need to study, you always need to realize that you can learn from everybody something. Everybody can teach you something from your profession or from your life. And if you live your life with humbleness and thinking that, I think that we can always improve what we are doing. Right? The most important thing about this is that you don't have to get crazy about everything that appears and it looks like great and awesome. Let's calm down this. Let's try some new things. That's good to improve. But then let's not get crazy with social media, advertisement, marketing, because we will die in that idea of try everything.
Yeah, so educating yourself is a very important thing. But as you mentioned, like with Dr. Damon, what shocks us is how he is still inspired and very driven by his profession and passionate. How we can stay same passionate with our routine, with our everyday works, and how to, get happiness from the things you're doing. And don't get burnout.
Yeah. Well, I think the most important thing about it is to focus on your final goals. And your final goal needs to be your patients and to provide them happiness to them. I mean, if you only focus, for example, on money, right? Or on using the last treatments that are available in the market, or once you get that, once you achieve the amount of money that you want, or once you learn the new system, your life is going to be boring because you don't have any more goals. But actually, if you focus on your patients, if you focus on trying to make their lives better, that's always going to be like an injection of adrenaline in your life, because they give you back that happiness that you're offering, right? So for me, it's very important to be realistic and to be very focused on what we want to achieve. Because if your only goals are material things, well, that's when you can make a huge mistake in your life, and you are going to burn out for sure in a very short age.
And how to find those new goals that you told me about?
Well, I think that it's more personal than professional. I think for me, it's always about managing your ego. For me, that's one of the most important things in my life. I mean, if you keep it humble, if you try, for example, what I always say in my lectures, or I try at least, is to say, okay, you always have to give back something. So you can put a number in your life, 10, 20, 50, 100 cases. I don't care, but once you get that number of cases in your practice, you're going to give one for free. And you achieve 50 cases, you earn a lot of money. Hey, the next one is for free. You're going to choose someone that can't afford that treatment. And you are going to change the life of a person without receiving nothing material for that. And I think that, for me at least, those are the patients that I remember the most, because they see me on the street and they hug me and they have tears in their eyes. And it's because they received something that they were not expecting, and I didn't ask anything on return. And for me, that's the most glorious moment that you got.
It would work. The number I bet on even has a name, and it's Pamela. Yes. P-A-M-E-L-A. Remember that name.
Today's lecture was really great. I'm a fan of your lectures, and you told us about Pamela case. If I'm saying that correctly, that was one of your first Damon patients in your career, and that how you were nervous about it, and how you felt very responsible for doing your very first steps, and how you wanted just the best for this patient. So starting treating with braces is a challenge, but another challenge is starting using TADs, what you've also mentioned in your lecture. Do you remember the very first patient that you started using TADs, and what have changed your way of thinking that made you implement the TADs into your practice?
Well, yeah, I remember my first cases. Oh, they were all a disaster, for sure. I mean, I failed in most of them. The TADs fell off. And I think that's what happens actually in every new thing you try. You try conventional braces, then self-ligated braces, then TADs, then aligners. At the beginning, you're not good at it. The good thing is that you have to be consistent, and you have to study about it. And you say, okay, why did I fail? Don't try to put them in a closet, right, and forget about them. No, you fail on that. Accept it and study it to say, okay, how can I change this result for my next patient? What I have to do to make things different. So we are always going to trip over with some stones. That's perfect. That's the way of life, right? But then you realize that, hey, I get that mistake, I'm not going to repeat it. And then you're going to realize that your cases with TADs, with aligners, with self-ligating brackets, hey, they're getting better. Why? Because you're learning from your own mistakes. Mm-hmm. The worst thing that you can make is not learn from your own mistakes, because otherwise you're going to repeat them once and another time. And that's the worst.
And how do you learn from your own cases? Those are photo protocols, CBCDs, or what else?
I would say with everything, right? Of course, we need all kind of diagnosis with images. We need X-rays, we need CBCTs, we need photos. I mean, the photos are very important for me, because sometimes you are crazy that day, right? And you're seeing a lot of patients. Maybe you're having a bad day. And sometimes I see my picture and say, hey, I didn't close this door, and I'm wearing self-ligating brackets for 25 years. How can I miss that? And that's because it was not your best day. Well, you need to realize that it's not that bad. Okay, you make a mistake, you can call the patient, you close the door. Hey, you can make it better. That's it. Don't worry about it. It's not that important.
The CT scan we need it. The X-rays, we need them. But for me, the most important thing is the clinical, right? I need to feel it here. This is the place. Right? So I put some anesthesia, and then I listen to the bone scream. Look at this, because it's a very subtle sound. But it's going to help you a lot when you use stats. Just kidding, just kidding, just kidding. No. This is the one, listen to this one. No, this one is the right one. Wait, here. Sorry for that. So you put the dental explorer there, and you go from buccal to lingual, and you hear the place where you're going to place it, in the buccal shelf. It helps you.
So you mentioned a very important thing during your lecture is that bracket placement supposed to be at FA point, so facial axis. How does torque expression changes with going higher or lower, and especially with Ultima braces and the Damon system itself, because not everybody already working with Ultima system?
Well, we need to understand that with all the systems in orthodontics, we are going to change the torque expression depending on the height of the bracket placement. So the brackets are made to be bonded in the FA point, right? Then we can see exceptions, and we can see that there's a new trend of bonding them more gingerly to achieve this smile arc protection and everything. And I tried that, and the thing is that I was having a lot of problems trying to achieve the ideal torque for all teeth. I had problems with hygiene in my patients. So we need to understand that, especially in a system like this one, where we are having a full expression system, we don't have that play, that slop between the wire and the slot. We need to bond the bracket in the right place, in the center of the clinical crown. So in that way, we are going to achieve the ideal torque, the torque that Aldous said so. And that's it. At the end of the day, if you think about it, it's easier. Just bond them where they always told you that you have to bond them.
So the time flies by, and you're getting more and more experienced doctor as years go by. But do you still wake up at night with your mind racing the best way to treat your patients, or did I close that door, or
No, with time, you realize that, your big problems are not there anymore, right? Your big mistakes, you did them at the beginning. So if you learn from them, you're not getting the same results. So the big problems are not there anymore. Now, for me, the word perfection or success are very big words. And actually, you have to think, what is perfection and what is success? Maybe what is success for me, it's not success for you, right? Maybe what is perfect for me, it's not perfect for you. So I think that if you are always trying to achieve perfection, it's only going to be frustrating. You are only going to get frustrated in your life because you're never going to achieve it. There's nothing like something perfect. So if you work really hard and you know that you are doing the best you can for your patients, that's it. You need to go to bed and sleep calm because you are giving your best, and that's it.
So it doesn't really change no matter how experienced you are, like if you're in a practice for 2 or 3 years or 20 years in a row like you are.
Oh, no, yes, because you get better with time, right? And at the beginning, you have a lot of problems. Actually, imagine when I placed my first stats, I was trembling, I was sweating, It was like the worst day of my life because I was getting out my comfort zone. And I was, oh my God, I'm going to give up a root. The patient is going to lose a tooth. We always think the worst scenarios in our lives. And at the beginning, I struggle a lot with my cases, with my patients, with my mistakes. Now, of course, when you get that experience, those big mistakes are not there, and you're more calm, right? If you study, if you learn, and if you try your best, that's it. You're going to sleep well. It's going to come. Don't worry.
Hope so one day.
That moment will come. Yeah.
Place it again. Now you need to remember this. I never make the same mistake twice. I make it 5 or 6 times just to be sure that I'm making a mistake. Okay?
So you mentioned success and perfection. Does happiness depend on success? And what is success for a doctor? Who we can call a successful doctor? And can you call yourself a happy person?
Again, what do we need to be happy? What is happiness actually? Today, for example, I had my wife and my 2 kids in the room, right?
Yeah.
They were hearing me for the first time lecturing in English. So if you ask me what was the best thing of this summit, of this conference, it's not Las Vegas, it's not the Bellagio Hotel, it's not the people clapping or Damon congratulating me. That, of course, everything is beautiful. I love it. And I want that. And of course, that's a motivation. But the best thing of my day were my 2 kids hugging me at the end of the presentation. In that moment, I was happy, right? So the same experience without my kids, it wouldn't be the same. So for me, at least for me, that's the definition of happiness and of success. And think for a moment of everything you wish, right? Maybe you wish a huge mansion with a huge clinic, all your assistants, a big car, you have millions of dollars in your office. But if you have kids and one of them gets sick, and I'm not talking about something very serious, but just a high fever or something like that, everything goes away. And the only way you want is the health for your child. So in that moment, you realize, hey, I will give everything I have just to have my kids healthy and with me. So in that moment, you realize that actually success, happiness has to do with that, with the people you have in your life, with the people you love and the people that loves you. How much you care for people, how much you give for them, and you're going to, if you give, you're going to receive much more for sure.
That's a very great and mindful ending of our session and episode. Thanks for coming to our short podcast series, and it was great hearing you at the summit.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you very much.